This is my Academy of the Pacific Rim book review of The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I enjoyed reading The Poet X because of how interesting the story was and how entertaining it was to read. I never felt bored when I was reading it. An example of this is when the main character, Xiomara, realized she was supposed to get home and was late, and what she was thinking about what her mother would do to her when she got home, just like what you and I would be thinking if we were in her position. I also really enjoyed the pages when Xiomara was just making her poems and I got to read some of them. I like the poems because they let the readers learn more about Xiomara when she wasn't talking to others. Some of my favorite poems or pages were page 127. Xiomara Batista, Monday, October 15th. Miss Galliano, last paragraphs of my biography, final draft. Xiomara's accomplishments amounted to several key achievements. She was a writer who went on to create a non-profit organization for first-generation teenage girls. Her center helped young women explain to their parents why they should be allowed to date and go away for college. They moved out when they turned 18 and move out when they turned 18. Also, how to discover what they wanted to do in life. It was an organization that helped thousands of young women. And although they never built a statue outside the center, she would have hated that. They did hang a super blown up selfie of her in the main office, since her parents were distraught that the neighborhood had changed and there were no more Latino families and the bodegas and area were all closed down. Xiomara used her earnings to buy them a house in the Dominican Republic. Although she was never married and didn't have children, Xiomara was happy with a big pit bull and a brownstone in Harlem, not too far from the neighborhood where she was raised. Her twin brother lived down the street. Another one I liked was page 248. Xiomara Batista, Tuesday, December 4th, Miss Galliano, last time you felt free, final draft. Freedom is a complicated word. I've never been imprisoned like Nelson Mandela or some people I grew up with. I've never been in cage like a Rottweiler used for dogfights or like the roosters my parents grew up tending. Freedom seems like such a big word, something too big. Maybe like a skyscraper I've glimpsed from the foot of a building but never been invited to climb. I also enjoyed a lot of the characters that I read about in the book. Caridad was a really supportive friend to Xiomara, and Twin was always trying to make her feel better when she was sad. Isabel was a friend that Xiomara made later in the story, who I also enjoyed as a character for how kind she was to Xiomara after she joined the Poet Club. I remember my first time going to a new school, and on the first day, all the kids were showing me around and being kind to me, and which is a part of the reason why I liked Isabel so much, because of how kind she was to Xiomara when she joined the Poet Club. These are the reasons why I think students should still read the book. I think that students at APR should read The Poet X because some students can relate to the main character in a lot of ways. I found myself relating to the main character at the beginning of the story when she talked about how quiet of a person she was around others and how she broke out of that shell, because sometimes that is how I feel. That brings me to my next reason, being how entertaining the story is. I feel like the amount of people that could enjoy the book might start conversations about how people can express themselves in other ways than speaking, similar to how Xiomara expressed herself in the book with poetry. This book could be used for more than just one project for the students at APR. For example, other freshmen entering 9th grade could read The Poet X and do a project that has them show what they know and love about the book. My project would possibly be to change the ending. What would your project be? Maybe you could write it like a story, or make a skit or a mini-movie, or make a picture project. In conclusion, I would highly recommend this book not only to the students at APR, but other high schools as well. And that brings me to the end of my Poet X YouTube video book review assignment.